everyone, it's Alicia here from We to 3 with another cycle update for you. If you haven't seen my last videos, then you might not know that this is cycle number 11 for us as far as our trying to conceive journey. Today is Sunday, so I'm on cycle day 11. Tomorrow, when you're watching this on Monday, it'll be cycle day 12. If you're a new subscriber or you haven't seen any of my previous trying to conceive videos, you can find that playlist on our channel with all of my trying to conceive updates prior to this one. If you haven't seen them, then you won't know. I have PCOS and my husband and I are trying to conceive naturally. Right now, we're on unmedicated cycles with help from a naturopath. So I've been taking Chinese herbs, a series of supplements, and basically just basal body temperature charting and getting acupuncture from my naturopath as well to try and get my cycle to even out, get me to ovulate on my own. And if all of that doesn't work, we're probably going to try Clomid later this summer. So far, this is our first cycle seeing the naturopath, and from what I can tell so far, it's going amazing. It's really hard when you're in the middle of a cycle to tell any difference, especially when you're basal body temperature charting. It's kind of a thing where it's like you don't really know what's happening while it's happening. You can see later what's happened. But so far my chart is actually looking really good compared to some of my anovulatory cycles that I've had. I will have a picture of my chart now. And that is my chart so far for this month. This cycle is looking a lot better temperature-wise. Some of my anovulatory charts kind of look like just almost a straight line and just doing this and this and this, like up and down and up and down and up and down and like really short bursts and spikes and stuff like that. Some of my anovulatory charts are like really high or really low. So far I've just had a like very gentle slope coming off of ant flow like to where I am now on cycle day 11. Just kind of like a gentle start to like decline, which is perfect. It looks just like my ovulatory cycles from like a year ago. So my hope is that that indicates that I am going to ovulate this cycle and that it is going to be successful. I have noticed that ovulatory signs so far are starting for me. It starts to look like my fertile week. The thing about my anovulatory cycles is that my body gets really close to ovulating and then just doesn't. So it's really hard for me to separate really early on whether or not I am going to ovulate or not. It's kind of just a guessing game. It's anyone's guess whether or not I will actually ovulate. But my body does now start to look like it is going to. So we'll see within like the next week. Probably by next Monday I will have an update of whether or not it's looked like I have ovulated or will ovulate. I am also starting to take today, I did take one yesterday, starting day 10, the Wanfo dippable ovulation test strips. I just take those mainly to like confirm what my basal body temperature chart is telling me. I definitely don't rely on them. I have in the past, but I usually just take them to like see where I'm at and if my body is indicating like an LH surge. Like I said though, my anovulatory cycles are weird in that they will indicate that I am about to ovulate and then it just never happens. So sometimes I do get like false positives on those Wanfo test strips. So I don't put a lot of weight into what they say, but I do take them because I think it's important to like say, well, I did get a positive, so I know that my body is like amping up, it's just not releasing the egg. All of the information I can get on each cycle is valuable to my naturopath because they can adjust and like do things differently the next month depending on the information I gather. I think that's the biggest reason why I like to be really thorough when I'm being monitored by someone as far as how my cycle is going. Otherwise, it's just kind of like you're not giving them all the information they need to. It's like having a test at the end of the month and not having the textbook beforehand. Like you can't get 100% on your test if you didn't have the textbook and didn't get any of the material. So I'm basically just like writing down everything I noticed, charting like I normally would, being really good about it. I actually use my ChargeHR silent alarm in the morning to wake me up for taking my temperature. It is literal the best alarm I have come across for taking my temperature in the morning because it's silent, so it just like it just vibrates on my arm a little bit, so it just wakes me out of my sleep enough to like take my temperature, and then I fall literal right back asleep. Before I'd been using like my iPhone alarm, and it's just glaring in the morning trying to like wake up to that, do all this stuff to take your temperature, and then go back to sleep. Thank you ChargeHR for my silent alarm. it saved my life with my temping because it's just quiet and gentle and it's everything I needed for body temperature taking. One thing that is going to be interesting this week, and it has happened a lot in other cycles, is that I may ovulate at a time where it's really inconvenient. We are going on a trip this week to Philadelphia to visit a family member of mine, and we leave Thursday afternoon and don't arrive until like early in the day, Friday, like 1 a.m. And then we don't get home until like Monday afternoon the next week. So it's just, I guess we'll see. I think from what I can tell, if I do ovulate, I am going to ovulate earlier this cycle, which means I'm like maybe 4 days away, which hopefully will fall on like Wednesday night, and that way it won't be a problem. Otherwise, it's like I am ovulating when we're like vacationing, which is usually not a big deal, but stress for me throws off, I think, my cycle more than anything else. So the minute I am like stressed out, I think my body just goes, oh, no, we will not be ovulating. Thank you, no. Like, we will not release an egg today. So I'm just trying to think of like different ways I can keep calm and like relaxed, even though like traveling makes me really freaked out. I hate airplanes. I don't like them. I don't like traveling. I like it when we get there. I just don't like the middle pieces, like worrying about like switching planes and do we have all the stuff, and oh my gosh. So I mean, hopefully that won't throw things way off for this cycle. That's my only worry, is that no matter what we're doing this week and like this whole month to try and make my body cycle, that it's gonna get thrown off because we're traveling. So hopefully like what we're doing will just counteract all of that, and we'll just force my body into ovulation and it will help it ignore all the stress. Prior to getting my PCOS diagnosis and prior to actually having a miscarriage, I was consistently ovulating between days 12 and 16. So usually on days 12, 14, or 16 are the days that I would ovulate. Based on like the charts that I've seen so far, as far as like what has come before this and then this one, the one that compares the most, I ovulated on day 14. So hopefully that will be true of this cycle as well. That would be great. The only other thing for this week, specifically the week of ovulation, I do not have acupuncture this week because my acupuncturist is out of town and then I'm leaving. So she's gone Monday through Friday and I'm leaving on Thursday. So I won't see her at all this week. I also don't know how I feel about that. I did not work up the courage to ask her about massage. Also, this week is turning out to be so busy that I'm not even sure I would have had time to go get one. But I do have an acupuncture appointment like the day after I get back. So I don't go anytime this next week, but then I go next Tuesday. So a week from this coming Tuesday, I go that Tuesday. So hopefully that'll help with if I did ovulate, like I can show her that I've ovulated. If I haven't, then hopefully she can do some things to like maybe trigger my body into at least thinking I ovulated so that I will actually have a normal cycle by myself. Otherwise, it'll just be kind of like a catch-up spot, and like I'm gonna have her review my chart that day and kind of like see what she thinks about it. The other things that I think are helping are the vitamin D specifically. This is my second full week taking it and I am like jazzed on life. I am so hyper and full of energy in a way that I have not been in a long time. So I think it is making a big difference. I think the supplements are helping. I do think everything I'm doing this month is having an effect, which makes me feel really positive about it. Another really crazy thing that's been happening that I wanted to mention is my husband and I both keep having dreams about me being pregnant or getting pregnant or having a baby. One night last week, I had a dream that I had an ultrasound and it was like 8 weeks and like the baby was fine, but I had a dream that I was having an ultrasound and that I was pregnant. And then a couple nights later, both my husband and I had a dream where we had a baby, and it was in both of our dreams it was a baby boy. His was a lot more detailed than mine. Mine was just kind of like, oh, and by the way, we have a baby with us and it is ours. But like his was like specifically about the baby. And then last night I had a dream about getting a BFP, a positive pregnancy test, which was just, it psyched me out. Like, it's interesting how much I've been dreaming of it. I mean, I have had pregnancy dreams in the past, but they're not usually this frequent or this clear. It's usually like I don't know, I can't even remember the last one I had, like 6 months ago maybe, like 8 months ago, I don't know, but the like influx of them has been making me like excited and also just like nervous and kind of like, are these meant for me? Like, are these dreams like, you know, good signs for me, or are they like meant to keep me going? Because sometimes after you've been trying for a long time, you just kind of like get to a point where you forget a little bit like the fun stuff that happens after you finish trying. Like, the goal is to get like pregnant, and you forget about all the fun stuff that you get to do when you're pregnant, or like the fun things that happen after you're pregnant. Like, when you get focused on just getting pregnant, you forget about like being pregnant and having a baby. Like, that's the whole goal. But at the same time, like, when you have PCOS, it becomes this whole medical process with trying to get your body in order that you forget about it. So I kind of think they've been like a little gift to me this month, like, I don't know, reminding me the reasons that we try so hard and the reasons that we're doing all of these things is so that we can like have all those moments. And I've had those moments, so it's like, I know how awesome they were, but I forget, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think about them actively when you're thinking about all the other things you have to do to get to that point. So I kind of feel like they've been like little indicators of where we're headed. I'm really hoping they're super positive signs. I know if you haven't watched any of my videos before, you won't know this, but this is actually the same cycle, this timeline right now, as when we got pregnant last year, the pregnancy that ended in miscarriage. So going into this cycle, I was a little bit hesitant about like even trying very hard. My goal is basically just to ovulate, and I was kind of like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about having a baby at the exact same time as when my first baby was due, the one that we didn't get to bring home with us. And so it was just kind of like a conflict feeling when we started out on this cycle. Like, what are we really going to do this cycle? Are we even going to try this cycle? Are we going to prevent this cycle? Because that's how badly we don't want to like repeat events right now. But the dreams that I've been having about having like a positive pregnancy test or an ultrasound that went really well or an actual baby have just been making me feel like it's okay if that happens. Like, they've actually been really comforting, and like, if that happens, you know, so what? It was meant to, if it does. Not saying it will, because that would be, that in its own right would be miraculous. For the first month that I'm getting treatment for PCOS to get pregnant, that would be miraculous in and of itself. So like, maybe like that's enough of a gift that I don't think I'll be as worried about like it triggering, you know, like different timelines and stuff. And I think that's kind of like the gift that's been given for having those dreams. And I can't speak for my husband, but I think it was really fun for him to have a dream where we actually have children, because he doesn't have them even as often as I have them. And I think they keep him going too, because I mean, partners don't talk about this, but it is hard for the husband too. Like, there are a lot more ladies talking about it on camera than there are men, but oh man, it's a whole thing on their end as well. So anyway, sorry for the ramble about my dreams. They've been so cool, and I can't get them out of my head, and they keep happening. It's just a whole thing. Could be just my subconscious, like once one happens, it's like a domino effect, like more and more and more dreams, and yeah, it could just be that. But I like to think that they're for another reason. And I think that's it for my cycle update this week. You all know I'm basically just waiting to ovulate. Once I do, it'll be the 2-week wait. Once and if I do, it will be the 2-week wait. Even if I'm not waiting to test, it's definitely like a waiting game for if I'm gonna cycle. So I call it the 2-week wait either way. Like I said, we will be traveling, so next week's video might be kind of different. I might be in a very different location than the couple that you've seen me before. It might be on my iPhone. It might be way like less quality than the videos I usually put up, but I will put up a video on Monday. Regardless, letting you guys know how everything went. And I will see you next week. If you don't follow me on Instagram or Twitter, please go follow me there. I do update a lot more frequently on Twitter and on Instagram about like how the week is going, whatnot, so you can check there if you're wondering where I'm at in the cycle. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching the video, for liking, for your comments. I, again, have really enjoyed getting to know some more ladies on YouTube that are trying to conceive. You guys have been so awesome, and I love, 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 love watching all of your videos too. So if you are a new subscriber, or you are new to the videos, or just want to say hi, comment down below because that lets me know you're watching, and then I go watch all of your videos because that's my favorite thing. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe below, and we'll see you next week. Bye!